Our next guest is the new chairman for the Hortgro Pome board, and he is Calla du Toit, all the way from Ceres.
Yes, and Calla has several things that he does. He's a grower. He's involved with Tru-Cape and has been for many years. He's involved with the Pink Lady. I think he's actually the chairman of the South African Pink Lady Association. And he's quite involved with variety selections. Very enthusiastic about the South African apple and pear industry. So here he is.
And it was a fantastic conversation. It started off with youngsters and ended up with the ports. So it was a very, very good conversation to have. And his enthusiasm and his passion was really something to enjoy.
We hope you enjoy this one.
Today's episode is brought to you by Agrarius, a South African investor specializing in agriculture. Agrarius founders originate from the farming community and have experienced how financial markets don't understand agricultural sector needs. They have thus fundraised from JSE investors to make money work for everyone. Agrarius offers a wide range of solutions, be it working capital, new equipment, new plantings and farm purchases. Whenever there is business potential, there is a way to make it happen. Agrarius, fair funding for agriculture. For more information about funding options, visit agrarius.co.za, a product of 274 Investment Managers. An authorized financial services provider, 31045.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to have Calla du Toit join us today. He is the current chairman of Hortgro, and he's a grower, and he's involved with several apple entities and varieties.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for joining us. And please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Louise. I'm the chairman of Hortgro Pome. You know, within Hortgro, there's I would say there's two legs of grower representation. The one is Hortgro Stone and and the other one is Hortgro Pome. So I'm the chair of Hortgro Pome. And I've been in the fruit industry for a very, very long time. I was born in Ceres and I was raised there. I went to school at local school Charlie Hoffman, and then I spent 1 year in the army those days, and then I went to Stellenbosch for quite some time, studying agriculture, and horticulture specifically.
Yes.
So I was, and you know what is so nice today, I still have a lot of friends within the industry that was in class with me. I think our final year horticulture class of 1995, we were 22, and we had a reunion the other day, and 17 of the 22 were there. So we still have a very good relationship.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and some very prominent people in the industry today was my classmates. So it was a wonderful experience. And so I went, I met my wife in my 4th year, and then I said to my dad, I'm going to study something else and do a bit more studies, which I did. And I went back to Ceres towards the end of 1997, and then I started as a full-time grower. I did that for 2 years, and then an opportunity came along to join Tru-Cape, which is a marketing company.
Yes.
And I went back to my dad and said, listen, I like the farming, but I like the commercial side of the business, of the whole fruit industry a lot. So I would like to get involved. And the initial plan was to do that for 3 or maybe 5 years. And this year it's 25 years that I've been with Tru-Cape. And it's been an incredible journey.
Can you imagine?
Journey. Yeah.
I can imagine, especially with somebody that's got your 1 foot in the production and 1 foot in the marketing side.
Yeah.
It's very nice to have that balance and to know both sides.
Yeah. Now the commercial side is very exciting. It's very dynamic, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to travel the world and to see other places. And I was also, from the beginning, I was involved with the varietal development. So I would say, very lucky to go to a lot of breeders around the world, new varietal developers. I got a lot of friends in New Zealand, in Australia, in Italy, in Spain, and all over the world. In the US, obviously, there's a lot of breeders and varietal people. So I've made a lot of friends over the world. I've seen incredible places, and I was just thinking the other day, if I can really recommend a career to a young person today, agriculture can really. There's so many women in our industry today that's doing a great job. They travel the world. And a lot of them on the commercial side, but also on the technical grower, I would say the grower at advisory level, where they help with horticultural decisions and technical decisions. But yeah, what an amazing industry to work in.
For sure. And you know, one of the interesting things is so many people come when we speak to people, and we have a privilege to speak to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they often say, you know, we need people in agriculture, but unfortunately, somehow people in high school aren't thinking of agriculture as an opportunity. So it's bridging that gap is quite a challenge for our industry, is to get that message to youngsters as early as possible.
Because we've also discussed that a couple of times, that by the time he gets to university, be it in Stellenbosch or wherever, and he's in agriculture, he's already made up his mind. But the youngsters that's still in what is our old standard 8,
grade 10 today,
grade 10, where they've got to make subject selections, they've not had the opportunity to, most of them haven't had the opportunity to be exposed to it.
But the other thing is also, because horticulture is now, there's only one horticulture department in South Africa, and that's in Stellenbosch. So a lot of students come from the northern provinces of South Africa, and they come to Stellenbosch, and they start off with a BSc. And in that first year, they obviously realize that some of their classmates are doing BSc with horticulture and agriculture economics, and only then they learn that there's a pathway to a commercial career in agriculture. So my daughter, she's second year now at Stellenbosch, and she brought home more than one friend which was doing BSc but not sure exactly what they want to do. And I always advise them, go and see the lecturer at the horticultural department, because there's a whole new world there. And there's normally it's not a big class. I said we were 22. I think the current class is something like 13 or 15. It's normally a small group of people. But I've never heard of a horticultural student that didn't find a job straight after studies. Because there's not a lot of horticulturists around, and there's obviously a lot of them go to other places in the world to work abroad, especially when they're young and not married or don't have commitments already in South Africa. But what an incredible industry to be working in.
For sure. And it's got arms and branches into so many different things.
I was going to say now, you might not be in horticultural. We're on a thing now, which is quite interesting. So you might not go and do horticulture, but with a BSc, you can still go in. You can go into genetics. You can go into a whole wide variety of that ties into the horticultural thing somewhere along the line. You don't need to be specifically horticulture, but like we said, they have not been exposed to that.
Exactly. but also, I think as our industry have developed, the South African fruit industry have developed, there's massive opportunities in logistics. On the commercial side, obviously there's a lot of export companies in South Africa who need competent people, and they need skillful people, and they need people who are really full of energy and passionate about the fruit industry. So there's so many different disciplines within our industry that you can find your place, and it's obviously it's a very dynamic. The whole industry is dynamic. Every year is different. Every day is different. The whole logistical challenges that we do have with our ports at the moment, and currently there's also a shortage of containers and container space, and so you have to make plans every single day, and you have to make calculations, and you have to make decisions every single day. So it's very dynamic, and I think for a young person, they like that sort of scenarios.
Somebody said to me the other day, and I thought it was a really interesting insight. They were saying, it was actually a table grape farmer. He was saying, because of the perishable quality of
Yeah.
the fruit
Yeah.
that we deal with, the
Yeah.
deciduous fruit. You need to remain connected as far down the chain as possible
Yes.
to ensure the value and the integrity and safety of your fruit.
Yeah.
Unlike somebody that's maybe growing something like wheat,
Yeah. Yeah.
which you harvest, you deliver, and that's the
Yeah.
end of the story.
Exactly, yeah.
So, with that incredible supply chain and very varied different parts of the supply chain,
Yeah.
people find their niche in all kinds of things.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's that long supply chain
Yeah. Yeah.
where a lot can go right
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
lot can go
Go
wrong.
wrong, yeah.
And you put your trust in so many
Yeah.
people, but you have to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think what's also different in our industry, remember, we from South Africa, we do a lot of programmed business for European and supermarket retailers in the UK as well. We do things like date coding, which other Southern Hemisphere countries, they are very reluctant to do that sort of thing, because obviously when you've put on the bag a certain sell-by date,
Yes.
then every
You're
single
committed.
hour you're running out of time, because you have to get that product on the shelf as soon as possible, as fresh as possible. And so when you move into that sort of, I would say, disciplined side of the business, you cannot make mistakes, and the management of the whole supply chain becomes very, very important. It becomes critical, because just remember, if you miss the sell-by date on the other side, then they will reject the fruit and it will lose its value. So I think I'm very excited about the fruit industry in general. It's from South Africa. I think the apple and pear industry is at a very good place. There have been an enormous amount of varietal development. We have a lot of young people who I think they brought a lot of new energy to our industry, and they are very competent people, a lot of them, and that's also a nice thing to say, that there's a lot of sons and daughters that come back to the family farm or come back into the family business, but there's also other people. I was asked a question the other day about the mere fact that it's so hard to obtain land in South Africa at the moment. But in the Western Cape specifically, and I know other parts of the country as well, there's so many great examples of people who never had direct access to land, and they've made an incredible success of their agricultural careers without owning land. So I think sometimes we have this thing in our head that you have to own land to make a success in agriculture. That is not true. That is really not true. There's many other opportunities.
And 99% of the time, the things around agriculture,
Yeah.
instead of actual primary agriculture, is making more money than the primary,
Exactly.
than the
exactly.
farmer.
Yeah. No, there's obviously, I mean, if you look at all the, I would say, agriculture in general in the world, there was always a tendency towards a consolidation, bigger units, spreading the risk. And it obviously, when you look at the whole situation economically, it makes sense to pull together and do certain things together. And more, even, I would say, even growers who are maybe still a relatively small family business, they partner with other family businesses and sometimes other commercial bigger companies, just to form a collective within where they can be more competitive, and they can negotiate better with the retailers.
Collective bargaining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think when I would say 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of things that growers would say, we're going to do this on our own, or I'm not going to share this information. That have changed drastically.
Yeah.
There's a lot of working together in our industry. There's a lot of support, and obviously young people, they maybe because they've grown up with things like WhatsApp and Instagram, they are very good communicators. They know what's happening around them and in the world, and it's just amazing for me to see how quickly they can find answers or how quickly they can find people. If you talk about, I've told my kids about friends of mine at varsity, and then the next minute they will come up with a picture of the person and say, oh, I found so and so, and he or she is doing this now, and this is a kid.
And you've never thought of doing that, but the kids have got that.
Yeah, obviously. So it's a different world. But coming back to my point earlier, there's amazing opportunities in agriculture, specifically South Africa. I think South Africa is at a good point. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, but there's uncertainty everywhere in the world.
Certainly.
Especially now. But many times, when you're at the point of uncertainty, there's great opportunities. And if you concentrate too much on the threats you will obviously have a negative mindset. If you concentrate on the opportunities, then you have a mindset of growth and new opportunities and I think that we must be disciplined enough to always focus on the positive. And if you look at the growth in our industry, the growth from the South African apple and pear industry as a whole, the growth is actually massive. If you keep in mind that I think Cape Town in 2024 was rated Cape Town Harbour was rated number 400
Yes.
on the list. There
At
was
the very
403.
At the very bottom of
There
the
was
list.
403 listed, and Cape Town was number 400.
Yeah.
There's obviously within that there's a lot of negative, but the positive is there's massive scope for growth.
You can only
exactly.
go one way.
Imagine Cape Town. Imagine that the authorities of that harbour can move from number 400 to number 200. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Can you imagine the opportunities then? Because I think there's a lot of trust in South Africa as a grower base and a supplying country, but our logistics is a mess, unfortunately, at the moment. Can it be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. We must just have the political will, and I think the bigger understanding that. Just remember, and you know the fruit industry or the agriculture industry very well. If you go to all industries with well-developed, I would say fruit, all areas where there's well-developed fruit growers.
Yes.
There's always good roads, there's always schools, there's always daycare facilities, creches, etc., etc., etc. So if there's a benefit for everyone. And remember, if you produce fruit, it demands from you to have good infrastructure.
Yes.
You must have good roads. You must have a good energy plan, other plans except from Eskom. So there's normally very good energy support systems like solar and like generators, etc., etc. But so growing the fruit industry will mean a better life for a lot of rural people. And if we all can just sort of understand that bigger picture, I think there will be much more effort going into making the industry working better, or just at least make the logistics work.
I had a discussion with somebody the day before yesterday, and we spoke about this. So the only place where people are still talking about divide between people, be it race, religion, whatever you want to call it, is when politicians speak. When you speak to the people on the ground, you and I sitting here, it doesn't matter who is sitting around the table, from which denomination they are, there's none of that. People are working together. And that is, we need to get that message out there more.
No, absolutely. But what does everyone want? Everyone wants things to work. If it's service delivery or the water system.
Things to work and things to prosper.
Of course, yes. But obviously, I think when things haven't been working for quite some time, then prosperity is maybe a bit far out of our minds. But if we could all pull together and say, listen, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work better and better and better, and then obviously prosperity will follow.
Yes.
So, Calla, I've got a question for you. For somebody who started their career right at the cusp of deregulation and has lived through the 30-something years since then, 20, nearly 30 years since then, having seen all of it, and at this point in your life and your career, being at the helm of Hortgro Pome, you've seen a lot, and you've seen the industry come of age, and you're now heading up quite a mature together industry. It must be quite special to have been part of this and to be where you are now.
Yeah, it was. I can remember that when I was a student, and there was a few of us. We visited a few of the senior growers in the industry at that time. It was in the early 90s. And we went to see at Hoekstra. I'm not sure if you remember him.
I remember him well and fondly.
He unfortunately passed away a few years already. But we were only students, and the day I left there, I was so inspired, because he said to me, and it was a few years before deregulation, he said, "Come hell or high water, I will export my own grapes." So and obviously when the opportunity came, he was so determined to make a success of it. And he did. And I think there was a lot of in the apple and pear industry, there's people like Alistair Moody who started Fruitways, and the same sort of thing. There was other pioneers. I think Charles Hughes, I would like to mention, he was the MD of 2 a Day at the time. Before we got access to China, I think he visited China something like 64 times.
Yo.
And he was determined to make sure that we will be able to sell apples and pears in China one day. Obviously, that day have arrived, and it's a massive success story in general. And you know that market is very big for us.
Yes.
And at the moment, China is a good friend of South Africa. Not all countries in the world like it, but it's a good opportunity for us. And I think so what I'm actually trying to say, I think that there was some very strong leadership way back then. The single channel had certain, I would say there were certain positives within that, but I think the world have developed a bit quicker than that system could. I think growers felt that they are caged in because they believe there's more opportunities, and it was a relative. There was in the beginning it was tough as well because I think overnight there was more than 100 exporters in our industry, and that also came at a cost because a lot of these people wasn't really. I won't say they were fit enough for that circumstances, but as time went by, I think there was more maturity and there was more discipline, and it became more structured, and you had consolidation of certain companies, and today I would say that the apple and pear industry is a very well disciplined industry, and I talk to a lot of exporters all the time, and they say to get fruit from an apple and pear grower in South Africa is very, very hard because they're all connected to someone who they trust and been involved with for quite a number of time. So I would say that over the period of nearly 30 years, there was very, very strong relationships built. And remember, apples and pears is a long game. It's you plant trees, and then hopefully in the third leaf there's the start of a production, but normally you have full production only in year 6, 7, sometimes with pears maybe even in year 10, depending on the variety and etc. A lot of issues. So it's a long game. So you need partners who also have the vision that they will stick with you over a period of time, and it takes time to something I've mentioned to you that I've been involved with the development of the apple variety Big Bucks, which is sold as Flash Gala. Now, Buxnell found that mutation it was the 18th of January, 2011. It's a long time ago. We only see the commercial success now. So the apple and pear game is a long game, and you must have the right partners. Unfortunately, you must have a lot of patience as well. But some years there's good opportunities, and other years is a bit different. But in general, I would say that for an apple and pear grower in South Africa, the whole the general conditions have become better and better and better.
For sure. And one has seen this happening over time.
Yeah.
And the kind of support, the broad variety of support that Hortgro gives to the growers. I mean, the industry information and knowledge, the industry support, the what do you call it? Sustainability stuff. Yeah. The new growers, the new generation growers support. Yes. There's such a broad range of services that Hortgro offers now, which have developed over time. And when you look at them now, it's come a very long way.
No, definitely. I would say some of the obviously, I think one thing that is a very valuable tool to growers and exporters is all the statistics and all the numbers. I mean, Hortgro, they will, on any given day, they will give you all the numbers of exported or inspected cartons on apples or pears, what was shipped, where to was it shipped, how does it compare with last year and the year before that, what tendencies can you pick up. They obviously have a very well-defined grower database with all the plantings, all the varieties and every year, annually, obviously a grower have to submit his orchard information. We call it a tree census form. So what have been pulled out, what have been planted, and so that gives you a very, at any given day, Hortgro have a very good snapshot of the whole industry, and you need that support. Anton Rabe always say that, remember that within Hortgro, we are an enabling business. We must enable growers of all backgrounds to grow and to become better and to be economically successful and ultimately keep on developing the industry. So I think Hortgro have played a massive role, and it also there was tough times there too, because I remember there was very frustrating times when we really struggled to get access to certain markets, but if you look at what have happened over the last 5 years, there's just so many opportunities. There's so many markets that have opened up. If you look at the amount of fruit we now sell in places like India and Vietnam, we just entered Thailand again. China is there, obviously, with massive opportunities. So I think where we've been very dependent on Europe and the UK 20 years ago. Today it's a total different story. Tru-Cape exports fruit to 108 countries across the world. So you actually have so many plan B, C, Ds, and Es. There's always a new gap opening up, and I think that have sort of made us more fit as an exporting company, because we always know that there might be something wrong on a specific shipping line and so you must have more than one option. And I think that sort of mentality have really made our industry much fitter and stronger.
For sure. And also something that's also grown massively in the last 20 years is the African market.
Yes.
I want to ask something about that.
Where I remember 20 years ago, the ships all sailed north past the whole of Africa to take all the stuff mostly to Europe. And now the African market is a huge player.
It's massive, yeah.
What did you want to add?
Yeah, but my thing is, the question I wanted to ask now is, because you said with all these opportunities that's there, traditional apples needs the cold units. So those kind of areas are running fewer and fewer and fewer. Yeah. So what is it looking like for the future? Where would you like apples to expand to? More warm weather varieties?
I'm going to answer your question just now, maybe on Africa. Africa is obviously it's a different market, but it's also a good market that we need. We need Africa, and what is very interesting is more and more fruit is trucked up
That's
north.
What I'm saying.
And
there isn't a ship involved.
Yeah, or port.
I think at the moment we truck to the north of Tanzania, which is quite far north up. And I think that sort of business was born out of constraints on the shipping lines and opportunities and problems in the harbor, etc. But you must remember, I think for a lot of people in Africa, an apple is actually a meal. And Africa is a tough place to grow fruit in, and because there's not always good infrastructure, and there's obviously there's obviously some places like Zimbabwe where there's a bit of apple growing, but it's quite hard. And it got a lot to do with the climate as well. But no, the African market is very important to us, and it adds a lot of value. And what is very interesting, these days we also sell a lot of high-end products. I would say 5 years ago it was predominantly Goldens, and now we sell a lot of Pink Lady and Joya and Flash Gala on the more expensive side, also into Africa. So there's a lot of customers there who's willing to pay, I would say, very competitive prices for very good quality. Obviously they demand good quality. But yes, apples can only be grown in certain climates, and I think going forward, water going to be a massive issue. But it's not only for the apple industry; it's for all industries. Water in South Africa going to become a big challenge. We all know the population is growing. There's more demand for water, for fresh drinking water.
And the population in the Western Cape is growing.
Yeah,
that's also that's also an interesting topic. But we're gonna have to be just very careful. Luckily, I think the industry is doing a lot of research on how to be more efficient in using the water. And there was I would say over the past 10, 15 years, there was massive progress on research, issues on application and the amount of water you give at what stage, etc., etc. So growers have really, I think they've done an excellent job in producing more apples and pears with less water, definitely. But climatic conditions and climatic cycles, obviously, they will be a challenge going forward. But and I think for our industry, if you ask me if this industry have the ability to double up, I would be very careful to give an answer. I think the answer is no. There's just not enough water. That's a simple answer. But we can obviously, and we can take out of the older, less productive orchards and replace them with new plantings, more dense plantings, netted plantings, new rootstocks, obviously new variety choices, etc., etc. And in many cases I've seen where a grower have taken out an orchard that produced 40 or 50 tons a hectare, the new orchard replaced that, and it produces 120 tons a hectare.
Sure.
So it's the same amount of land, less amount of water, but much more apples and pears. So, and that's what you need. You need that sort of energy, and it's amazing how growers now. What I can mention to you is 10 years ago we started a project in our industry. Hortgro started it. It was called the Orchard of the Future, where there was in every area there was one orchard, one or two orchards planted with new systems, new rootstocks, etc. To me, it feels like every single grower today have an orchard of the future on his or her farm. Everyone tries new things, try to plant more dense, put up new netting systems, put up new trellis systems. And the nice thing is these people, they travel the world. They go to Bolzano, is an apple fair every second year in Italy. A lot of South Africans go there. Fruit Fair is the same sort of thing, which is every year in Spain, in Madrid. A lot of South Africans go there. So yeah, the new generation growers, they travel, and they don't only travel for holidays. They travel to go and see what other people are doing across the world. And it's interesting to me that more and more, I would say, a lot of European import companies come and visit South Africa, more and more of them, because we've really become important in their lives. But not only in Europe, in the Far East as well.
Yeah.
I just came from CFG this morning. There's a whole delegation of Chinese people come and look at the pack house and look at the varieties, and they want to grow the business. So it's actually amazing how this industry, and you talked about what we've seen and experienced over the past 25 years, but we have a lot of world-class orchards, a lot of world-class growers, and I think obviously that helps become more and more competitive. And South Africa is really seen as I would say the shining star for the Southern Hemisphere regarding future growth and future supply to Northern Hemisphere countries.
That's very inspirational what you said, and there are a couple of things I want to touch on. One is they say the health. You can very quickly see the health of an industry when there's a gathering and you see how many young people there are.
Yeah.
And that the apple and pear industry definitely ticks the box. What you were saying about the challenges about the water and the climate, the R&D on getting better varieties that can grow under tougher circumstances, it's super important, and there's jobs for young people there.
Exactly.
Equally, netting and better irrigation. And so this again shows you the wide range of opportunities there are, which are helping to deal with the challenges. And the fact that South Africa, in the Southern Hemisphere, we are so isolated from other places in the world that we are this bright shining star. It's incredible. And that Hortgro is there to service this industry. And if you look down the road where Hortgro is now and what Hortgro is doing, every time there's been a challenge, Hortgro has risen to the occasion to meet the challenge, to develop something in that particular field. So if you look at Hortgro today and you think about where we've come from, where we are and where we're going, is there anything big on the horizon that you're looking at that's a big challenge or an opportunity? And the challenge and opportunity sometimes the same thing, as you said.
Anton Rabe he'll be retiring towards the end of this year.
Okay.
So we are obviously busy with the process of looking for a new CEO for Hortgro, which is also a very interesting journey to be part of.
Yes, I can
But,
very well expect that.
Yeah, but you know, and Anton have done an amazing job. I have a lot of respect for him, and I've been in so many meetings where he was under so much pressure, and he was just, in the end, he was always so clear on who we are as Hortgro and what is our job. Our job is to enable our growers. That's our job. And so, yeah, hats off to him on an incredibly successful career. But obviously there will be someone new, an Anton or an Antoinette, we don't know yet. And but obviously that will also come with normally a new MD brings a whole new culture into a business. It brings new energy, brings new opportunities, So we're really looking forward to it. I would say it will be a new era for Hortgro.
Indeed.
And if I look at the boards, the Hortgro Pome and stone boards, there's these days there's a lot of women around those tables. There's obviously a diverse group of growers around those tables, and a lot of young people with a lot of new ideas and new plans. So yes, I think we're moving into. I would say we're moving on to the next chapter in our industry. I would say, obviously, the foundation have been laid, and it's a good foundation. We have a lot of stability in our industry. We have a lot of, I would say, very good structures and support structures. I think our industry is well disciplined and well organized. There's even amongst the biggest of exporters, there's always mutual respect, and we respect each other and each other's clients, but there's always also a lot of working together. And I think the problems that we had to solve, like the current logistical problem, it brought us closer together, because if we cannot fix that, none of us will flourish going.
And that's not just together in the apple industry; it's together in grapes, citrus.
Exactly.
The whole spectrum.
Exactly. So we all. But I want to say that as well. It will not be acceptable if we cannot fix this.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that the Cape Town port is not fixable. That's absolutely not true. I know there's a lot of wind there. There've always been a lot of wind, but we can sort out if we can address the right stuff, then we can really make that place world class and make it work. So yeah, obviously, so it's not negotiable to say, listen, it is what it is, or we have these challenges, we must accept them. Growers simply won't accept it. They will not accept it. And we need to fix that facility very, very quickly, because there's growth in all our industries. In the grape industry, there's growth. In the stone fruit industry, there's growth. The blueberries is growing strongly. Cherries is growing strongly. And obviously apples and pears, there's also growth. So we need...
And you are competing with space for all the other fruit types that aren't deciduous fruit types. They also need to get onto the shelf.
A lot of them are starting to overlap now as well.
Yes.
No, we've trucked a lot of containers up to Port Gilberta these days in Durban, but it comes at a cost.
Of course.
And there's only one who can pay that cost, and that's the grower. Unfortunately, there's no magical fund that will absorb those additional costs. It's simply deducted from the fruit, so it got a negative impact on the grower's position, financial position. So we have to fix that. But I think. Once again, the amount of time that we put in as a collective to see what we can do, and I think it will intensify within the next few months, because we obviously there've been a lot of excuses and a lot of plans, but you need to see the results. That's simply what you need to see.
Yep. Always say compliments don't pay their bills.
No. And for you, as somebody that has a production background and a marketing background,
I've been waiting to ask that question.
How is your involvement with Hortgro and seeing and hearing things firsthand? It must, I mean, you're putting it out there, you're doing the work, you are standing in that position. Getting all that information and stuff firsthand must be interesting and also in some way beneficial for you as well to be doing that.
And what time of the evening do you switch your phone off for the phone calls?
No, I've in the beginning of my involvement in the industry, I always had very good mentors who always said to me, listen, just remember, the moment you leave your farm, you start to serve the broader industry. So you will have to fight for varieties that you don't even grow. You have to fight for certain aspects that will not necessarily benefit you. But the other side of the coin is true as well. So and in other cases it will benefit you. But I always try to split it, to take it apart. When I'm involved on industry structures, on industry boards, I really go out of my way to focus on the broader industry and try to be as inclusive as I possibly can. You obviously pick up certain tendencies, but remember, my job is also to inform fellow growers. And luckily, we have a very good structure. We have the PPC, which is the Pome Producers Council, where there's representatives of all the areas. So all the burning issues is discussed there. And it's the job of those representatives to go back to their areas, their constituencies, to give the information back. And just remember today, there's no secrets really anymore. If there's a big thing happening, people know about it very quickly. And I would say growers in general have become quite used to things like WhatsApp, and they use it to their benefit. So people are, I would say, the level of to which growers are informed have also increased, or it really is much better than a few years ago.
Definitely.
It is. I always try to sort of, as I say, split the two, because I'm very aware of the fact that I will never withhold information from other growers or look, as if you're involved in an industry structure, it's your job to take forward the whole industry.
Yes.
But yeah, I try to always keep the two apart.
And if you,
I get that, and I suppose you're probably quite inspired when you hear about what's happening and how things are moving and shaking. Having that ear to the ground must be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's nice to be informed. And it's nice to know what's happening on the ground level. It's obviously I have the privilege of having a lot of information on my phone, so I can see how many ships is in the harbor. I can see I can see all the industry statistics, whatever I want, any time of the day or night. So it's obviously a privilege. But I think our systems have evolved to a place where that sort of information is pretty much available to all our growers.
Yes.
If you want something, you can get it. And all these new there's BI tools and dashboards and stuff that gives you a one-pager of everything. It's an amazing thing. So and we have the same. I'm involved with Pink Lady, as I told you as well. So on every single day, you can see the export of Pink Lady from South Africa to all destinations at any point in time. It's so easy these days because obviously there's a lot of information systems talking to one another, and then we have that information. Technology, obviously that's the other thing that I think is really becoming very relevant in agriculture in general. But with things like cameras and stuff like that, you can obviously, you're not on the farm, but you can know exactly what's happening in the workshop, in the shed, at the inflow of the dam or whatever, or the dam level or whatever, or the weather in general, weather predictions in general, the accuracy and have also improved. So technology have brought about a whole new dimension as well, which is actually incredible.
It certainly is.
It is.
so my question I've been trying to ask.
Yes.
Louise interrupts me all the time. Is listening to all of this. If you've got to say tomorrow, I'm not serving the industry anymore. I'm stepping away from these boards.
Yes.
Let me put it that way. And with your background as a grower and as a marketer, which one of those would you choose?
Well,
and you've only got to do that one for the rest of your life.
Big question.
I would like to be a grower the first 2 hours of the day and the last 2 hours of the day.
Okay.
But the hours in between, I would like to be involved in the commercial side.
Okay.
Because
Love it.
And my current schedule is like that from 6 to pretty much 8 o'clock. I'm on the farm. I'm amongst the workers. I'm experiencing on a grower level what happens, and obviously then my phone rings a lot of times, but that's okay. That's I don't really mind that. But and then the rest of the day is commercial issues, order issues, and export issues, and pack house issues, and container issues, and label issues, and price issues, etc., etc. And obviously 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock. Luckily it's summer now, so the day is a bit longer. Then I'm a grower again. But I would say the commercial side, to me personally, is more vibrant. It's more dynamic. There's always a problem, and I like that. There's always something that needs to be fixed. I think obviously the grower level is the nice thing about being a grower is the fact that you're out in the open and in the wild and in the orchard and on the mountain or with the streams and the rainfall and the people, obviously. We got amazing people working in the agriculture industry. But the short answer is, I think the commercial side to me is moving very quickly, and it's I like that. I like that a lot. Yes.
Okay.
It's a very good answer because he gave you an either or and you said both, which is, I think that's a cool way to answer it. So, Calla, if you have a message to people that are listening, let's say growers and the broader audience about Hortgro.
Not just apples and pears. We've got citrus.
Everybody who's listening about the fruit industry.
Yeah.
It's a broad question. Do you have any message that you would like to tell people?
I firmly believe that for South Africa, the best is yet to come. We must just be patient. We're going through a phase where I think we have to resolve a lot of things politically, but that shouldn't be our focus. Our focus should be to build a better South Africa. And I know a lot of politicians say that as well, but really people on grassroots level, they want to see things that work and work well and see progress and see their kids going to good schools and obviously have a dream for their kids. That's what they want to see. But I firmly believe that things will change in South Africa for the better. I think we've all experienced the wheel turning, and we've all been at the bottom, and it's not a nice place to be when things don't work and people are frustrated and we don't want to be there. We all know that we can do better as a nation, as a collective. And I think our diversity makes us stronger. It makes us better. We are much more capable of dealing with fluctuations and when things doesn't happen the way they're supposed to happen. European people get very anxious when things are not working according to plan. Mm-hmm. We get excited because it's like that all the time. We just make a new plan. So if you have that...
A boer maak 'n plan.
A boer maak 'n plan. So if you have that mentality of looking for solutions, obviously it must go better. But I really believe that for South Africa, we must just press on and keep fighting for the right things. Obviously, we must fight against corruption. We must fight against crime. We must fight against everything that's negative on the broader society. There's so many young people in South Africa who do have a dream. I think we owe it to them that there's a chance that their dream can become reality. So, I think if everyone every morning makes a bold decision to say, listen, today I will be positive, I will inspire others, I will build a better South Africa for everyone in it, then we can fix this thing that we sometimes get so negative about. And I really believe it will be better in future for all of us.
So I take it you're not immigrating soon.
No. I've been, it's interesting. I've had the privilege to travel the world, and the best part of every trip is when the plane lands in Cape Town. That's the best part. A place that you could call home, and it's a beautiful place. And obviously, I've made some incredible friends in places like Italy, and I must tell you, obviously, it's a beautiful place to live in. But the quality of life of South Africans is better. It's better.
I agree. I have also traveled a lot, and I've seen a lot of things, and I hear what you say, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We have a tradition at the end of our podcast. We ask everybody that's one of our previous guests to leave us a random question.
Yeah.
And Dewald's going to dig in the book there now.
I'm going to ask him this one that we got just now earlier. It's a very loaded one.
Yeah.
And it's very direct.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't write this for somebody to beat around the bush.
Yes,
So
yes.
you've got the floor, and they've asked for it.
Yes.
If you could change anything within PPECB, what would it be and why?
Well, I think the whole endpoint inspection system is outdated. That's my view. So I would change the whole system to something that's much more dynamic, and where the customer have a bigger say in what is acceptable and not. I think the PPECB have done a job. They've done a certain job for a certain time, but the world have moved on. So and what would we like to see? We would like to see more trade, and we would like to stimulate trade. And my personal view is that sometimes the PPECB is more than an obstacle than an enabler at a relatively high cost. So I would change the whole system if I can, and change the whole endpoint inspection idea. I think is not relevant anymore. I think, and remember, your customer today can actually have a look at every single box that you pack in the pack house. That's possible. Why do you still have a whole army of people to come at a certain point in time and interpret fruit based on standards that's not necessarily in line with what the customer wants? So I think, we need a much more agile and dynamic system that stimulates trade and not restrict it. So I would change the whole of the PPECB if I could.
That was a good
interesting.
question asked to the right person at the right time. And thank you for your expansive answer.
Oh, that's a pleasure.
Thank you.
It would be curious to see a different system working.
It is possible.
Yeah, it
You
is
never
possible.
know.
There's different
Like you
systems
said,
in other
always,
places of the world. Yeah.
There's always opportunity for improvement.
Yeah. Now, I've been in, just maybe one more comment on your question. I've been involved where the cherries were packed and they was ready to fly out. It was a late Friday afternoon and they couldn't find the PPECB inspector. The product was perfect and there was no deal because there was no inspection. So yes, I think we can find something more effective and better. That's my view.
Thank you for your answer.
Fascinating. Yeah.
I think we are done, unless there's anything you would like to finish with.
No, thank you for the opportunity. It was nice chatting to you.
Thank you very much for coming. And I know I've been on your case for a long time, and it's finally happened.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you so much.
And Calla, I've never spoken to you before.
Yeah.
But your passion is infectious.
Yes.
Okay.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I can see why it
Absolutely.
is what you do.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for that.
Oh, it's a big pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Good.
Okay.